Right, I'm in the right position now. I can actually see what I'm doing better from this side. So, and that's crimped together properly now. Nice strong connection. Now the next step with these is pushing your cables in, and these can be a bit of a pain in the arse. You've got to make sure that you get them the right way up. So I'll just grab my my magnifier so I can peer down the hole and make sure I'm going to put these in the right way. Right, the clips at the top on that side. So, you'll notice on the connectors here, straighten them up a bit, there's like little bumpy bits there sticking up. Well, they tally up with some clips that are inside here. So, just shove them both in, and then it's a case of getting the bloody things to come through these holes. In fact, I'll just chuck that out, put them in afterwards. Right, I'm just going to knock you off a sec. Right, what I've done here, I've pushed the two wires in, and I'm going to try and see if I can zoom in on this. Lift the camera a little bit. Come on baby, zoom. Alright, don't fucking zoom. There you go. You can just see the pins sticking through a bit pointy bit. The pins are just sticking through in there. So once you've got them actually fed through the little slot inside, just give them a push until you hear the clip. A click, should I say. And then just give it a tug on each one, and you can't pull them out. That's that now clicked in place. Then with these little yellow plugs, just get them shoved into the end. Zoom back out actually. Yeah, the yellow bits that go in the ends of the plugs, just get them to the end, and then usually I'll use a little screwdriver just to push these in better. Give them a bit of... These just stop water getting in the end of the plug. A bit like standard plugs really. I'll just grab a little screwdriver and push that with my fingers. You don't need to shove them all the way in, but I just like to shove them a few mil down the hole. And that's that plug on. So you got your brown and you got your black. Now what you've got to be careful of when you go from here is that plug's going in that way, so I want that brown to line up to that side with right, the blues on these are, oh then what fucking colour was that? I think the blue's your earth. I'm sure the yellow is the indicator and the orange is the running light. I'll have to have a bit of a way up on that one. No worries. But anyways, you've got to make sure that you get your connector in the right side, your colours in the right side. So like for instance on this, your black one would be the bottom, so if it was plugged in, the blue, which I think is your earth, would be in there, and then obviously the yellow which would be the live up to the indicator, would go into that one, but that's for the left hand side and I'm on the right hand side, so I just need to have a quick nose and see which is which on these colours. Right, I'll just knock you off for a minute, I'll be back. Right, colouring on these cables, because I had to extend the wires, sorry, not cables, I'd written it down what I'd put to what when I extended them, and I've found my bit of paper with what I've put on. So for instance, left side, which is this one, I've got black to blue, so blue, I was right, blue's the earth. Then I've got red to orange, that would be a running light, and yellow to yellow. So them two there are for my left hand side indicator. The orange is what you'd use if you were using them as a running light, which I won't be. And then on this side, for the right hand side, I've got black to blue, so again the blue's the earth, and then I've got red to white, which would be the running light, and yellow to green. So green and blue are the two I want. So green would be the feed for your indicator, like your live, and the blue would be the negative, the earth. So I just couldn't remember whether I'd put the yellow to the white or the green, so but now I know because I found a bit of paper. If you do stuff like this where you're changing colours of things, it definitely pays to write it down, because otherwise you start thinking, oh bollocks, what colour was that meant to be, etc. So right, I'm just going to knock you off for a minute and I'll get back set up again and we'll carry on with these, the right hand side. I need to put some heat shrink on first as well before I do out. Right, back in a minute. Right, this set of wires for my right hand side indicator, I've just put a length of heat shrink up to join into this part of the loom. I'm just going to shrink that on just at that end, just at this end to start with. So I'll just shrink that on now. That just stopped that slipping, and it's inside. You just see the line just there. There's a little line where that's gone up inside. I'm leaving that end at the minute because when I get the wires cut, I'll slip some heat shrink up underneath there for each wire, and then thing that on so that it grips and heats all of it in one of them, and then it'll be wrapped round. Even if I have to undo the clip, it'll be wrapped round and come back through with where this cable's coming through, and then obviously join in to the plug. So for starters, the white, which I didn't need, I'm just going to shove that back up on itself, up inside there. In fact, what I'll do is I'll pull that back out, and I might just put a tiny one on the end, just so the end of that's sealed. And the reason I'm not just cutting it straight off is, if at future reference, if I sell the bike for instance, if anyone wants to use them, use the indicators as running lights, they can just undo that and use it. I'll just cut a little piece of heat shrink. Just sit that over the end. Ooh. Just give that a press. The stuff I use has glue inside it, so it glue itself together. Just give that a second to cool. Find my file. Right, now I'll fold this back up on itself. Just feed it up and just push it till it's out of sight, sort of thing. That'll do for me. So that's back up there out of the way, and when that's shrunk on tight, it'll pull it in so it won't come back out. So what I need to do now is just make sure that that's going to play ball lengthwise. Bring it round, it's going to go back in that clip, and that should be about spot on. So I'll just cut an inch off these. Just find me little grommets to go on them. Might as well grab the rest of the kit while I'm here. Put the little yellow grommets. Oh no, dumbass. Said I was going to put some heat shrink on. Actually, I don't need it. Right, I'm just going to heat shrink all this up now. Yeah, I don't actually need to put heat shrink on that, on them ones. So, I'll get my grommets again. Feed them down the wires out of the way. Right, and these connectors are pretty much the same setup as the other ones, but obviously they've got the hole that the pin slots into. So, see where I want lengthwise. Not much at all. So I'll strip a bit off the end of this. Adjust my cutter. Now then. I might actually just take a little bit more off that and double that one over. Right, get this set up in the crimpers. Same as to the side, just bend them in slightly, the tabs, so that it sits in the crimpers a bit square. The wire in, make sure it's not in too far. For some reason these don't seem to be they're not crimping that at all. Num nuts. So that's another thing you've got to watch, is that you get your connector in the right way around. Can't see a pissing thing. Need me glasses on and find the fucking things. Might have to change the ends on my crimpers. Right, I'm just going to knock you off a minute, I'll be back in a sec. Right, got my manual crimpers. Same setup. Get your bit in. Feed your wire through. And then compress. And just give it a good hard tight squeeze. Unstick it from there, and that's nice and snug. That one's nice and snug. All we need to do now is feed that through, and on there they've got the same humpy bit here that catches the clip, so I just need to have a look in my magnifying glass to make sure we're getting this the right way up, because not only have you got to get it the right way up, you've just got to make sure that you're getting your wires in the right side as well. So flip to the top. Now if that's going in like that, black to the bottom it'll be, so I'll put that one in, get it lined up. I'll try and get it lined up. Right, that's that one in. See, it's come through. and then the other one's the same. Push that in. Oh, says he, just realised I might have crimped that on the wrong size. I'll just re-crimp the end of this. Make sure it's in the right spot. Nicely. So we're keeping the right way, that's the thing. That's great. So that's both clips in, and before you put there's a bit goes in the end of here, and before you put that in, oh, fuck does that go in there? I'm going to have to take them back out anyways, because obviously you're meant to put the red bit in first, so I need to just poke down here to release the clip, which is easier said than done. Right, I'm not going to fuck about with that. I'll just I'll knock you off for now. I'll get this thinged out and then I'll switch back on again. Right, I've had a bit of a look at this. These are very slightly different to ones I normally use. These don't go on the inside. They just push into the two slots on either side. And that's it. So I didn't have to pick all the insides out after all, which is always good. Right, pull these plugs down, caps, bungs, whatever you want to call them. Screwdriver out the job. Push them right in. Try not to split them. Right, and if actually open that clip up again. Feed that round and through. Not slack. And then just close that clip up again. And then that, line it up. Make sure everything's sorted, and that's clip number 1 in. Which, when I undo the rest of these, so there's a bit more movement in the loom, it'll all sit nicely. Pull that through there. I might even put a little cable tie just holding that, but I've got these to feed round now. I'll bring them round, and the clip for that can go in here. because I've got a bit of extra length on this side. I can cut it off up here so that the next connector sits in that bit. Push that down out of the way, and then the connector can sit up in there. So I'll knock you off for now. I'll get the rest. In fact, what I'll do, I might as well cut these middle ones off. We're not using, I'll cut them off down here. We're not using the middle ones, so I'll cap them off now. Oh, your arse. Try to keep your fingers out of the way because it can get rather warm. To the one and then put another over the pair. That one out of the way. Right, try not to blow this one all over the shop. Put a slightly bigger piece over both of them. Melted the loom then, and then that leaves these last two wires, which is the left hand side, which I'll cut off up close to the block. The reason I'm doing this is, one, I want the connector, the new connector's got to be able to go through that gap, which these slim bits here will go through that gap, so I can pull the wiring through if need be. Two, I didn't want to cut the plug off the standard indicators I took off because I can sell them, so they just sell them with the plug connected. Right, so I'll knock you off for now and get this completed, and I'll switch it back on and show you everything in place. And then that's basically the wiring for the front will be near enough done. In fact, I think the wiring for the front is done. And then all we have to do is, once the wiring at the back end's done, we can plug all the dash back in, just put the dash itself on, plug it in, switch it on, we can test everything then. So I'll knock you off for now. I'll be back I'll be back later. Right. Got this wiring finished. I've actually ended up feeding the other indicator wire through the frame here where there's a gap. Plugs in place and everything on this side. So got it pushed through and up, and this one's now connected. Same as to the side. I've left a bit of slack in case how it needs to be altered, but I can undo the clip on both sides. If I'm taking the handlebars off, for instance, the clip wouldn't actually fit through the hole, the connector should I say. So that's that'll sit nicely in there, and once I've got the headlight in, I'll feed that into there as well, and it'll just sit nicely in place. and I've also plugged in, actually moved the cable, wiring originally was coming out of here and across, but I've actually fed it underneath the relays and brought it up the middle. So them two, never noticed that writing on there. That's what these boxes are, flashers for LED. But yeah, they're connected up now. So next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to start messing with this block here, which is your rear indicators and your rear light. So I think that'll be the next step. So I'll knock you off for now and we'll get sorted.